Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
We hope you enjoy listening to this podcast of St. Louis on the Air, brought to you by University College at Washington University. With undergraduate and graduate programs, part-time, evening, and online. University College at Washington University, offering world-class education within reach.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Don Marsh. When Lewis Carroll wrote Alice in Wonderland, he probably did not see the Metro Theater Company's musical adaptation coming. Metro Theater's production of Wonderland, Alice's Rock and Roll Adventure, is currently playing at the Grandel. It's different, giving a 150-year-old story a very much updated 21st century look, sound, and feel. Joining me in studio to talk about this production are Lamar Harris. He's the St. Louis-based music director who wears many hats, including producer and manager. Jamie McKittrick, that is director, choreographer, and Sankofa B. Soleil plays Alice. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Our time is limited, unfortunately, but Lamar, I'll start with you. Tell me about this Alice's Special World as produced at the Grandel.
Well, it's a take on the original story that's been scored with a rock and roll theme, pretty much under the leadership of our wonderful director, Jamie, who allowed me to pretty much do, I call it a Tony Stark, just pretty much take the music, throw it up in the air and kind of really rearrange it and really stretch it to have more of a modern day feel. The original score is technically scored for kind of a lot of different traditional instruments, but at the same time, it has a more of a B-52 / Queen type feel. So I put it in a more modern day text to have a little bit more of an Outkast / Pharrell / a little spice of Lamar Harris in there.
Jamie, are the characters in this production pretty much the same as they are in the original Lewis Carroll?
Yes, the characters are all the same. You'll see pretty much everyone that you read in the book or saw in any of the more traditional movies. But the difference is that they all play musical instruments, and almost every one of them engages with Alice through song. So it was super important to get in collaboration with Lamar to make sure that the songs suited each of the individual characters. And luckily, we already had a pretty good blueprint for that with the original work by Rachel Rockwell and Michael Mahler.
Chicago.
Yeah, up in Chicago. And then we made it so that it would sound like what kids wanted to hear today.
Sankofa, tell me about your Alice.
This Alice is, I always like to say 7.5 exactly. It comes up lots of times in the play. I don't know, this Alice isn't the traditional Alice in terms of what I would normally think when I see Alice. One, I'm African American, so that's the first take. When you get to the play, you see that. This Alice, like the other Alice, goes on this adventure to find herself, to discover who she is, and she learns all these lessons through the other characters in the play. But she also does it, I feel like Alice is also learning how to conquer things via the musical instruments, via song, whereas in the original production, you don't get that when you think about I don't know what year the original Lewis Carroll came out.
1865 or thereabouts, I think.
But yeah, so.
How difficult is it for you as a performer to be playing an instrument? You're bouncing around a lot, I'm sure.
It's an interesting balance. It's definitely testing my limits as an artist and a performer. Mm-hmm. At one point, Jamie has me flipping around on stage. I do some capoeira cartwheel moves halfway through with the guitar on my back and in hand and in tow. It's been challenging to learn just even the stage placements because I've been a musical artist but not an actress or an actor in any regard. So just learning where to place my feet, where to ground myself. I think the music was the least bit daunting. I was really concerned about remembering the lines. But yeah, it's fun to run around and sing and play and engage with all these really magical psychedelic characters. In the play. Yeah.
Jamie, it doesn't sound like you made it easy on the actors.
No, definitely not. I mean, I find a lot of value in having performances and theater that feels a bit like a dare to all of those who are involved in making it happen, because then we all have to rise to the occasion, and then something unknown and magical can happen. Also, I have worked as a performer. As a performer, those are the types of things that I like to perform in as well. So no, I haven't made it easy, but I hope I've made it like an exciting challenge that people are ready to sink their teeth into.
Lamar, has you done that?
Yes.
You know, what I'm thinking as I hear you talk about it, and I obviously haven't seen the show, it's running through the end of this month. I'm thinking of you're doing, or this production does for Alice in Wonderland, what Wiz did for The Wizard of Oz. Am I off base on that, Timur?
Not really. I would almost compare it a little bit like what the story of Buddy Holly was at the Muni, where you have it's an interesting situation because you have actors actually playing live instruments. Everybody's playing live, so there's no pit, which is a little more challenging. It's not just you have to learn lines, learn dance moves, and the normal type of stuff you would do just in a regular musical, but you have an extra additive with the live instrumentation. So we have keyboardists, guitar players, bass players, accordion, trumpet players, clarinet, you name it, we probably have it in there somewhere.
Anything else like this been done before?
Not exactly. It's a little challenging, to be able to do a show like this. And I commend Metro Theater for taking a chance and doing a production like this because, like I said, with that added layer of having to actually perform, it takes a little bit more concentration to be able to do it.
Sankofa, what is your instrument?
Throughout the play, I go between piano, guitar, electric guitar, and djembe.
But Sankofa plays like 30 instruments
Yes.
in
30s
reality.
In real life?
Yeah, I do.
How in the world did you get to that point? That's something else.
My great grandmother was a church pianist growing up, and so my first instrument was piano in church. And then I went from piano, then I learned congas, then I started playing vibraphones, and I always just wanted more.
Well, I guess you got there if you played 30 instruments.
I was disappointed to find out that she played cello, because if I'd have known she played cello, I would have found a way to get this cello
Yes,
in.
I agree with this.
Bounding around the stage with a cello might not be the easiest thing I can think of, or a piano, come to think of it.
If you've seen this show, they probably would have figured out a way. Right. They would have probably got me an electric one or something. Who knows?
Jamie, who is the audience for this play?
Well, the play is for young audiences. Metro has a pretty incredible mission that's about honoring the intelligence and wisdom of young people. However, I believe it's something that parents could come and see. Really little ones could come see it. My nephew came to see it, who it just turned 5, and he sat the whole time and was bouncing and dancing. So we have something for everyone. I heard there were high school students there today, and they were super into it. There's something for everyone. I mean, the story itself, the narrative is what is important, right? It's about a young woman finding her voice and being able to then have a positive effect on the world. So that's, I think, fairly universal. But in terms of just the incredible mastery of skill that's happening on the stage, everyone will be excited to see that.
As Sankofa said, that is a psychedelic production, and kids always love that. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
We have one of the numbers from the program that we'd like to play at least part of, and Lamar, I'll come back to you on that. What we've got is Keep Your Temper. Oh. Why don't you tell us what this is all about, and then we'll have a listen.
Well, this is actually the Caterpillar song, which I totally rearranged. So we brought it up to have a little bit more of a neo-soul, soulful type feel. And Shannon, who plays the Caterpillar, is doing a wonderful job singing it. So.
Singing it while playing what instrument?
Well, actually, she's just singing it in a I don't even know where she is. Is she in a box?
She's in a, we have all kinds of secret surprises for the set. So the mushroom appears magically out of the speaker box and has all kinds of black lights in it. So she's not playing an instrument in that moment because she's singing the whole time.
And her instrument on stage is also clarinet, so it's hard to play a woodwind and sing at the same time.
And the ukulele. Yeah, she plays the ukulele and the clarinet throughout the production.
It's also hard to play those instruments when you have no arms.
Yes, correct.
You got to figure that out. Well, let's give a listen now to Keep Your Temper.
Fight with fire and you'll burn. That's the lesson you must learn. Don't let rudeness get you riled. Best to keep your temper, child. If you come across a person
think we get the vibe. I mean, it's, I gather that what you're doing pretty much is like this throughout the entire production?
Yes, the style just keeps changing. So some songs will have a little bit more of a soulful feel. Some have a little bit more of a heavier rock feel. Some songs have an EDM feel. We even have a little Afrobeat even happening even during the Jabberwock battle. So, it's kind of all over the place.
What is your background? You're from St. Louis or live in St. Louis?
Yes, I grew up, went to Normandy High School, went to University of Missouri at Columbia. I'm a trombone player by trade, but I play all brass instruments. Jazzer, work at Jazz St. Louis. Shout out to them. But I love jazz, hip hop, soul, and also moonlight as DJ Noonie.
How did you hook up with this production?
Well, I was happy and fortunate that Jamie even asked me to do it, and I was like, sure, why not? This is my first time working with her, and I was like, she just kind of just turned me loose. And I had to be careful, like I can stretch. I was like, man, you don't want to overstretch him, and it's just been a wonderful experience and stuff. So
that's a great privilege for an artist to be able to stretch, to be given the opportunity to try things that other people haven't been able to try.
Right, and it's been fun working with this wonderful cast. Every cast member is their own artist. They have other projects that they're involved with, or solo projects, and to be able to work with them to develop these characters and these sounds to fit what they're doing on stage has been a wonderful experience.
Sankofa, I want to learn a little more about you. Where are you from?
I was born in Houston, Texas. I have traveled so many places far and wide since then. My family's also from California. I'm a military kid too, so
I get that.
I've been all over the place.
And what about 30 instruments? That to me is
30
still
30 is a slight exaggeration,
well,
but
whatever it is, if it's 28, it's still an awful lot. What about your show business career? What have you done?
I started performing. I had a band in St. Louis, Androbeat. We were a gender and genre non-conforming band here. And then from there, I've been working as a singer-songwriter. I was invited earlier this year by Peter Yarrow to go join like a songwriting coalition. So I've been writing songs behind the scenes. I do a lot of activist songwriting. I do a lot of songwriting for different artists, youth groups. I did songwriting for March for Our Lives. I'm all over the place.
What sort of activism are we talking about?
I've done a lot of extensive work with environmental activism. I used to work for Greenpeace. I was a climber with Greenpeace for a while. I've done a lot of work with, when Movement for Black Lives was kind of like at its peak, I was doing a lot of work with them. I'm an activist for all things. Intersectionality is my go-to. So
good for you. And Jamie, let's come back to you. You say you have a background in performing, on stage performing.
Yes, I grew up in St. Louis and then was based out of Philadelphia for a really long time as an artist. And the Philadelphia performance scene has a lot of cross-pollination between genres. So I started off as a performer, as a dancer, as an actor. I danced with Coca Dance growing up here, and just moved slowly but surely more into directing and choreographing and self-producing, making my own work as well. So I have my hands in a lot of things. I also teach at a number of universities in the area from time to time.
We've only got about a minute left. Give me a commercial for this production. How you sell it to our audience?
All right. Well, I will say that if you want to come see a show with some of the most exciting theater artists and music artists in the city, Wonderland, Alice's Rock and Roll Adventure is going to be the way. But also it's going to give you a real wonderful girl power extravaganza experience where you, through the characters, learn what it is to truly be a queen, which means to be a good citizen and take care of other people.
In a second or two, Sankofa, what's next for you? Very quickly.
What's next after this?
Yeah.
Seems to be more acting, everyone keeps saying.
All right.
I haven't quite decided yet, though.
We'll look for you. Lamar?
I'm actually working on a project with opera theater with Terrence Blanchard, so I'm excited about that.
Wow.
And for more information about this wonderful production, visit metroplays.org.
We're going to put a link to all of that on our website so people can find it, because there are a number of different times for the show. Thanks to Lamar Harris, the music director for it, Jamie McKittrick, director, choreographer, and Sankofa B. Soleil, who plays Alice in the Metro Theater Company's production of Wonderland, Alice's Rock and Roll Adventure. It's playing at the Grandel through December 30th. Again, play dates and times are on our website. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.